Apache Junction City Council meeting to order. The prayer will be led by Vice Mayor Wilson and the pledge by Councilmember Struble.
Heavenly Father, we are gathered together this great evening to perform city business. We ask for your oversight as we discuss the items and make decisions that are beneficial to our community. Help us to continue to help keep this a great place to live, work, and raise a family. We also ask for your continual healing hand for Denny Walters that was injured during the stagecoach accident at Lost Dutchman Days. Keep him safe and return to our community very soon. We also ask for your protective hand for all our first responders as they continue to protect our great community. We ask also for your extended to the city staff as well as our military members and their families wherever they are serving throughout the world. Bring them all home safe at the end of their duty day. In the Lord's name, amen.
Join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Here.
Vice Mayor Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Barker.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Rizzi. Councilmember Rizzi is ill this evening, Your Honor. She will not be here. Councilmember Struble.
Here.
Councilmember Waldron.
He's
He is-
on a cruise.
He's out of town.
Oh, okay, so he's not here either. Okay. 5 members present. You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the consent agenda be accepted as presented and that resolution number 18-05, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the City of Apache Junction, Arizona, pertaining to the submission of projects for consideration in Arizona's 2019 Highway Safety Plan be approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
Councilmember Barker.
Yes.
Councilmember Struble.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Mayor Surtee.
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Announcements of current events.
Yeah, I have a short one. I went to the Itty Bitty Olympics on Saturday. It was grand fun. Little kids tossing frisbees and balls and jumping long jumps, and their long jumps, of course, are like this. But it was just great. They had a lot of kids out there. It was a lot of fun to see.
Chip.
Okay, yeah. Just for those of us that decided to stop at, I'll say Fry's last week and had the sudden surprise of seeing the Budweiser Clydesdale at the facilities there. It was I'll say, unique opportunity to have close and almost personal touching with all these beautiful, gorgeous animals as they paraded around the parking lot for a period of time out there. And I did not see anything in advance, and they said that they're going to be making periodic visits throughout the area, so I have no idea what periodic is. But if you happen to see them when you're going to buy cat food, stop in.
Jeff.
We have 3 kids in our community that earned. First, Travis Tavares Brody from Imagine Prep earned his way onto the All-State basketball team. He was one of the members of the team that took second place in the state. And then we had 2 young ladies from AJ High School that earned their way to the state track meet. Micah Adams is participating in the high jump, and Emily Rutkowski is going to be participating in the hurdles. And, there's a whole bunch of other kids that have just been doing all kinds of stuff throughout the community representing us, and it's just continuously great to see them put forth an effort and make Apache Junction shine.
Gail?
No.
Okay. At a recent forum, I was asked where I take people if I have a chance to highlight the city. And I really couldn't come up with anything other than the events that the city does, which we're getting pretty darn good at it. And, of course, we don't always do them all, but we help facilitate them. And the Bluegrass event that we had at Horizon a few weeks ago was yet another one that we'll add to our list. And then we have the Blues Festival that's now moving to a bigger venue. And I'm afraid that the Blues event has already outgrown that place. It was so great because you got the trees there, and it felt like you were kind of back east because you're among the trees. But it was, they think there were possibly 3,000 people there on Saturday and only 700 or 800 on Sunday. So what happens next year if 5,000 come? We've got to be prepared. And that's a great problem to have. But you think of all the events that we do, and people from all over the valley are now coming to our events, and it's a way to highlight the town. And as you know, also Facebook is getting more and more of ways of communication. A lot of people get their news from there. And this week, someone posted, and I asked him permission if I could read his post, but it had some pretty colorful language in it, so I can't really read it word for word. But he's moved here from out of state, and he's staying in an apartment in Chandler. And the neighbors were so noisy, he sped up his effort to try to find someplace. So he just started driving to different cities and communities. He went to Gilbert and Chandler and Queen Creek. And he came to Apache Junction, and he was in line at a convenience store, and somebody in front of him just turned around and started talking to him. And he was so impressed with that, he said he's going to move here because nobody's talking to him in the other communities. And it just shows what a friendly, warm community we are. And because people talk to each other like a hometown, and he's actually chosen to make this his hometown. So, great news. City manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. And
Was Krista going to be on the phone?
she's had communicated us that she's not feeling well enough to do that. Yeah, so she's not able to. Thank you, Your Honor. Bryant Powell, City Manager. I have a couple items for tonight's City Manager report. First, I'm super pleased to have here with us several members of our Apache Junction Chamber of Commerce Board. They're in the crowd, and tonight it's a special night. We get to have the formal introduction of their new CEO. But what I'd like to do first is have Andrea Chisholm, a member of the board and prior president, come up and do that introduction, and also provide a quarterly report as part of their visitor center contract. Andrea?
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, City Council, I'm vertically challenged, so I'm going to move this. Does that?
There you go.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Appreciate you inviting me here tonight. I do want to introduce, at the presentation, we'll introduce our new CEO. I'm here tonight. This report represents the last quarter of my being chair. So this will be my last report to City Council, which I'm kind of sad. So thank you again. Going through the presentation, again, our visitor center is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Last quarter, I discussed the directories and the maps. So far, we have distributed 17,000 directories and 11,250 maps. So it's a really great response to our directories and maps. Regarding expenses, I do want to note that the information that you have in front of you, there was an error on one of the utilities. So that error was a $1.57 difference from actual. So I have noted that, and you also should have received an update to the city report. For our entry into the visitor center, for this quarter, we had 3,545 enter the visitor center. We've had foreign countries from Canada, Italy, Netherlands, New Zealand, Sweden, United Kingdom, France, Ireland, and Germany. So a lot of people have come into Apache Junction. Also, I don't know how to request this formally, but one of the pieces of data that we have reported for the visitor center that has been a challenge for us has been door swings. So I'd like to ask City Council tonight if we can eliminate that count of door swings and eliminate the count of conference room entries. And the reason for my request to City Council is the data that we collect from door swings has always been inaccurate. When I first came on as chair, we had a quarterly presentation here that said it was a swag, and I was terribly embarrassed by that. So we tried to improve the door swings. The counter, sometimes it doesn't work. People are manually counting numbers. They're taking the conference room attendees and subtracting that from the number of door swings. So because it's been such a problem, I'd like to ask if we could eliminate that count. So I don't know how, does that happen in a work session or?
Joel, we can't really discuss now. We're all taking note of that.
That could be put on an agenda or probably in the next year's contract. That's what I would recommend.
So you've got the message across to us. We just can't really discuss it right
Okay,
now.
great. And then the other request that I would ask is if we can only report the visitors from the log sheet. There's going to be some problems with that not all visitors that come into the visitor center sign the log sheet. Our volunteers ask every visitor to sign. A lot of people will say, no, I'm not interested, or no, thank you. And sometimes a group will come in and only one person will sign in for the group. So there's going to be some discrepancies with that data, but we think it's more reliable than the door swings. Our phone log, we've logged 822 phone calls for the quarter, and the majority of them are for chamber-related events. For our community events, we had great feedback from the Festival of the Superstitions. The vendors and the attendees from that event just raved about the change in location, the grass, how wonderful it was. It was a great event. Lost Dutchman Days, we had fewer parade entries. We also had, for the first time, a float winner. We had the best float was Salt River Wild Horse Management Group, so that was exciting for us. And this coming weekend, we're going to have the Blues and Brews Fest. Also coming up in the next quarter is going to be a golf tournament, awards banquet, and the Shop Local program. It's going to start up again. I want to welcome Mr. Michael Eastwood.
Yeah, come on up, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, City Council. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to be here and again, work in this fine city. It's February 12th was my first day, so we're a little over a month. I've met a lot of the members, a lot of you through events and everything else, and the City Council and the staff and everything else, and it's been fun. So for me, it's just exciting times and things that we're going to do to change and work together and make this city better, and that's just kind of my drive and direction. So thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We're sure excited to have Mr. Eastwood join us. So I wanted to, again, tell you thank you. Larry LaPrise was not able to join us tonight. He took his first sick day in 7 years, so he is out sick today, and he apologizes for not being here. And again, I'm representing the Visitor Center as the immediate past chair. So thank you again.
And we also want to thank the Chamber for everything that you do, because speaking about being a friendly community, I mean, the Chamber is our bridge to Gold Canyon and even into East Mesa and all the way into Mesa. We have Chamber members from there that join here, and that connects us to the whole East Valley out here. So, and also the conference room, I mean, all of us have meetings there. Whenever you need a room, I think the Chamber will always let you use that, and that showcases the city, because while people are there, they get to see all the information that's in the meeting room there. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Michael. We now have time on the manager report for our monthly financial report. Matt, can you go over that with the council?
Our Mayor and Council, Matt Busby, Assistant City Manager. This will be a quick one tonight. I just want to show you that in the general fund, things continue to trend in the positive direction for us. As you see, the month-to-date and the year-to-date are looking very positive compared to last year. So we feel very comfortable with these numbers and how they're looking for the remainder of our budget year. Similarly, we feel comfortable with the Highway Users Revenue Fund numbers, although the numbers don't look quite as high as they did last year as far as month-to-date and year-to-date. They're still looking very good, and we're getting a lot of those roads paved, and you're seeing a lot of work being done out there. And then our last slide gives you some of the balances. A lot of these fluctuate throughout the year according to reimbursement for grants and when funds come through versus when we have to expend them. So if you have any questions, I'm available to answer them. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes our report.
Thank you. Public hearing for application for special event liquor license for the Boys and Girls Club of the East Valley for April 21st, 2018. Kathy?
Yes, Your Honor, this is a request from the Boys and Girls Club. It's an annual request. It's a fundraiser scheduled at Dolce Vita one day on April 21st, 2018. In your packet, you have comments from the fire district and city staff, and there are no objections to this license. And Boys and Girls Club representative is here in the event you have any questions.
I see several representatives out there. Would one of them like to speak about it? We can have two at the mic at one time, I think.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, members, staff members, and audience. I'm Sandy Smith, and I'm Vice President of the Boys and Girls Club in here, and I'm Chairman of the volunteers for this event. And we have it every year, and last year we raised over $100,000 for our local Boys and Girls Club, and the money does stay here to benefit them. So, and those that attend have a good time also. So we'd like to, this event license is very important.
Good evening, Russell St. John. I'm the branch manager for the Boys and Girls Club. This is our 20th year of this event, and our event is titled Boogie Fever, so it should be a fun event, back to the 70s, and we hope that you guys will be able to join us.
Anything else new this year? Just who's going to be catering and everything like that?
Yeah, it'll be catered again, and it also, we've changed it around a little bit, and we're having more entertainment by the kids, having them come in. That has been a welcome addition, and so we've changed a little bit of what we have there so that every year you see something new.
Are there tables still available?
Yes, we still have tables available.
And how might they
But we're
reach?
getting pretty low on the tables. We probably have about 5.
Is there any
tables
way
available.
that someone could find out about how to get those tables?
Certainly. You can contact Russell, and you can contact myself if you would like. My phone number is 480-528-9747. My email address is Sandy, S-A-N-D-I-E _ Smith@att.net. And so I'll be glad to help them go through and get to Connie Lane, who's our chairperson.
Thank you. Okay,
Any questions?
doesn't look like it.
Okay, thank you very much.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this issue? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the hearing. Any discussion? I'll call for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the special event liquor license for the Boys and Girls Club of the East Valley for April 21st, 2018, submitted by Russell St. John, be recommended for approval to the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Public hearing for application for an interim permit, new license, limited liability company, Series 12 liquor license for Dirtwater Springs. Kathy again.
Yes, Your Honor, this is a interim permit liquor license request. Dirtwater Springs is under new ownership. In your packet, you have comments from the fire district, Planning Division, Police Department, and the Building Division. The memo from the Building Division expresses some concerns about some safety features within the building. Mr. Kirch and Mr. Zellner are here in the event you have any questions. However, I think Mr. Zellner does recommend approval, subject to the issues being addressed.
Should we talk to Mr. Zellner now if we have questions, or should we ask
can-
the applicant to come up?
Either way.
Does council have any questions? Or
I have a question. Why does the planning division cite all of these fire hazards when the fire department signed off with no major problems? That's my question.
Dave, you want to come up and kind of explain how the process goes, and then we can have Mike follow up after that. So it does go through a couple processes. Yep.
Mayor and council, Dave Zellner, building official. I'm not sure the best explanation to give you. I am, a past fire inspector, along with being the building official. And so there are certain things that there's overlap between the two codes. And so sometimes enforcement falls strictly under building, sometimes under fire, but in some cases it's joint.
Did you contact the fire department on those issues?
There were some email exchange, so I don't know. The way it was presented to me was that they thought they had seen the same things that I did, but I didn't get any feedback as far as what those things were. So, but I did talk to Brenda about the concerns, and so and some of the, what she shared, some of the things that the fire had noted, but I don't think all of them were addressed. So, but I think she kind of knows. It's a situation. Those things, some of the things cannot be fixed immediately.
Right.
So I think we're going to try to work with her on a kind of a plan of the steps and try to, there's some immediate hazards like propane tanks that can be removed and stuff, and hopefully that's happened. But some of the other stuff is hood related and some other things. So just kind of what
So
we
can you
found
give an
typical.
example like how those codes overlap?
So the egress issues are covered in both codes, and one will refer to the other. The building code actually specifies the requirements for distance, door hardware, stuff like that. Fire code says they will enforce that, and then they have some specific things. There are some specific things. The fire code is more for existing, businesses and kind of maintaining the functionality. The building code is, our goal is to have it built correctly, and then hopefully then it is maintained in compliance. So, but sometimes we find that things are not in compliance. One of the issues that I found that they probably wouldn't have noted was that there were some water heaters added, and they didn't complete the installation the way they needed to comply with code. So that's kind of a thing that, won't be in the same reports and stuff like that. So, and that's part of why you have both go, is that there, certain things that kind of have one part has a better understanding of. So, but, there were some things that I think hopefully that'll be picked up later.
So I guess my thought is that it seems to me that when you find things that are obviously, this entire paragraph is based on fire hazards with extension cords, heaters, et cetera, and it seems to me that when you see that we need some communication with the fire department so that both entities are aware of these situations, because you go at one point, they go at another point, and they both really need to be saying the same thing, or really close anyway.
Right.
Close to the same thing. So that was my concern. Thank you.
Anything else?
any more questions for Dave? Thank you.
Brenda is here.
Would- Would the applicant like to speak?
guess I just need to know if you had any questions for me on any of that? The
Need the name?
fire, the,
Need your name and
Name and
address
address.
first.
oh,
Brenda.
Brenda Barnum. Address, Dirtwater Springs is 586 West Apache Trail.
And you're the new?
The new owner of Dirtwater Springs.
Congratulations.
And I also have stage fright, so I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Doing great.
Don't worry about it. So one of the things that was in our report was that building is going to be working with you to try to alleviate some of these problems.
Right, we've already fixed several, like the water heater he mentioned. We've added the piping, added the ventilation, removed the extension cords, things like that. We fixed a lot of it already. Some of the bigger stuff is gonna take a little bit of time. We've gotten a proposal from Flatiron Electric already to add a couple more outlets so we can remove extension cords where they're needed and things like that.
Okay. Did you tell Dick that he should have fixed this stuff?
Oh, you don't even know.
I would have loved
We had a
to
nice
have heard
chit-chat,
that
yeah.
conversation.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Brenda.
Are you gonna have a different menu? You gonna add any services?
So we've been changing a few things. The main menu that's been there forever, we've kind of left it alone because it's kind of the core clients come in for. We've been adding different specials and trying to adjust some things, adding some new things like that. Gotten a gluten-free menu, fresh vegetables, things like that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the hearing. Is there any discussion? And I'll call for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes. Yes.
I move that the application for an interim permit, new license, limited liability company, Series 12 liquor license for Dirtwater Springs, submitted by Brenda Barnum, be recommended for approval to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Public hearing for application for an interim permit person transfer individual Series 12 liquor license for Pho Ever. Kathy?
Yes, Your Honor. And again, this is a request for an interim permit. I'm not able to say it's a new owner because the person who has applied for the liquor license has been operating that business since last year. In your packet, you have comments again from the building division pointing out some problems at the location. However, they do recommend approval subject to these issues being addressed. You have no objections from the planning division. You do have an objection from the police department. They're actually recommending denial. You have no objection from the fire district. And even though I rarely comment on these liquor licenses because of unresolved tax issues, I am also requesting that you recommend denial.
Okay, would the applicant like to speak to the council? You don't have to, but, okay. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the hearing. Discussion, and this is one I think that we will discuss.
So
I-
evidently, what I'm getting here is we have three problems. We have a problem from the police department due to a pending criminal case. And confusion as to who owns what.
Correct.
And then the tax problem. And the building official who says, go for it, but, okay.
Well, my thoughts on it are, those things are in the past, and how do you if we do this and hurt the business, how are they gonna make money to get out of this funk that they're in? I mean, it's like throwing someone in debtor's prison. How do you pay your debt when you can't work anymore? So I hate to see a business close because of an action that we do. I would hope that we would continue to work with them to get through these problems, but I would not like to really see them not have the liquor license if that's, and especially going into the summer. I mean, anyone that has a business here, a matter of a few $100s makes a big difference in June, July, and August. In the winter, it's easier to make money here. So those are just my thoughts on how about over on this side?
Your Honor, I'm concerned about the confusion of ownership. That's a pretty big deal. I mean, that's not past, that's right now.
Can I interject one thing? I know that I have, and I believe the police chief has also had conversations with an official of the Department of Liquor Licenses and Control, and some of what you see in the packet are our comments are reflective of his concerns as well.
And
Can we have the chief come up when we're done discussing? Do you have any questions?
well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, Mayor Surtee, but all we're being asked to do here is a liquor license. It doesn't stop the sale of food to customers.
True.
And it's, you know, we keep, you know, there's a thought process out there, and believe me, I'm a business owner and I work with business owners all day long, and you know, it can be argued that there is too many regulations upon the government that puts upon the business owners. But and then I'm sitting on a city council that has to implement those ordinances, and we also have to regulate and enforce. And so it's one of those things, you're wearing two hats on this. And it's one of those things when you own anything, whether it's a car, a house, a business, a bicycle, a horse, whatever it is, along with ownerships comes responsibility. And one of the part about owning a business is that you work under the ordinances, the laws, the regulations that are put forth before you at the time that you own that business. And, you know, we can say that this is because of in the past, but it really isn't, because some of these things are ongoing. And I think that's something that we really need to take into account. And you know, we have to hold those people that want those privileges of owning a business and the right to own a business and the ability to own a business, to hold them accountable to the responsibilities that they have.
Anyone else? Can we call the chief up?
Tom Kelly, Police Chief.
Yes. So if we don't know who owns it, then how do we know who the problem is? So who, and also for Joel, while the chief is up there, if we deny now, what is the process if they rectify these problems? Can they get a license later? And is it more difficult then, or is it easier, or what would the process be?
Mr. Mayor, if you deny now, the recommendation will go to the liquor board, and they will, essentially, the city clerk sends them a letter with the denial and the reasons why, and they will look at that information. They'll look at the packet, and then they decide whether or not they're going to agree with the city. If they say, yes, we agree with the city, usually in order to get that, you got to send someone from the council should show up and actually explain the reasoning. They don't like attorneys, but they'll listen to council members and the mayor. And so if they say, yes, we agree with the city, we're denying it, then he could reapply, but he'd have to fix some of these things, or actually all of the things. And is it more difficult because you have a black mark? I don't think the liquor board sees it that way. I think they will make sure everything's done correctly. So if you approve it today, then essentially they will just say yes, they'll approve it also. They probably will not deny it. So, and then the chief has some issues, though, that I think you may want to hear.
If I'm allowed. Basically, our concern is that the establishment has been selling alcohol without a license. Conversing with agents of the Liquor Commission, they were made aware of it. They made several attempts to correct the action. The actions continued. We opened an investigation on it, found out they continued to sell alcohol without a license, and that was our objection. The Liquor Commission said that they had other issues in regards to past taxes and other fines that have not been alleviated yet. So that's their problem, not ours, but ours is the illegal activity to continue to sell alcohol without a license. That's ours in a nutshell.
So the license, when this business sold, the license went with the previous owner? That's why the license?
No.
And,
I think it was in the
and we
process
know
of, I don't think
we
it's
know
ever
a
been
drop
granted.
dead time of when that was?
I don't.
Yeah, I can answer that. The previous owner is no longer in the state. He sold the business, and the individual who purchased the business was supposed to have the liquor license transferred. And he, even though that occurred months ago, he did not do so. And there were several visits, I know of 2 or 3, by the state inspector and made multiple requests for this process to take place. But again, to follow up on what Joel said, if you recommend denial, this would become a mandatory hearing before the liquor board. They would take testimony from the city and their own inspector, and then make a decision based on that.
Any more
How
discussion?
soon would the hearing be? I think we talked about this before at another, but I can't remember.
Probably within,
I think they meet monthly.
yeah, within 60 days, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do I understand it correctly that there was 3 different timeframes that it was noted they were selling alcohol without a license after they were notified?
I know there was 2, I can't say for sure there was 3, but there was 2 prior notices by the agent from the Liquor Commission that he spoke to the proprietor on those occasions. And when I had spoken to him, he said that he had obviously advised him that he was no longer to be selling alcohol, and then we found out he continued to do that anyhow.
So the notices are in person, not by mail?
I don't know if they did mail, I'm certain there was other communication with them, but they did do it in person.
And there is a bit of a language barrier. You feel that they understood?
I can't speak, I wasn't there present when they did it, so I'm assuming that they would have gone through the proper protocol to advise them of the right process to go through. And it was, the Liquor Commission, the liquor agent was actually kind of surprised that this was not even removed from the hearing for this evening, for other benefits he may have faced by not proceeding this evening, so I don't know.
Any more discussion?
So Kathy, the tax issue is both current and past?
I can't answer that. I'm sorry.
Well,
All I can say is that it's an unresolved tax issue. Because of the confidentiality, I can't say anything
no,
further.
and I understand that. It's just as a point to penalize them for something that they acquired. That's why I asked that.
I have no reason to believe that the tax issues have been resolved.
Okay.
And just to answer on that one, I mean, when you purchase a business, that's part of the due diligence that you do, that to see, making sure that any taxes are owed are taken care of prior to the purchase of a business. It's just part of due diligence.
Joel, I have not closed the hearing yet. I can tell that the applicant is trying to get our attention. Can we have them come up now, or is it, can we go back
You
and
could
reopen
reopen
that?
it and then reopen to the public, yes.
Okay. All right, I will reopen the hearing if the applicant will speak. If you can come up and. And we'll need your name and address.
So my name is Kiet Ha. I'm at 300 South Bell. When I bought the business, I haven't bought a business, but when I go work with him, he told me he left me a month to try it, and he told me to use the license. He's still in with me, and when I do the license, legal license, I said the guy do for me everything for another guy do for me, and he said he did already, but I keep sitting there and waiting, and however he said that they're gonna send to me, and I could keep waiting, they don't send. And then I call him and talk to them. They said he did everything, but they cannot get the money from the bank. So I have to go reduce again. Right after the chief he come in and look for the license, and after that, he told me stop, I stop right there. And I go the next day, go straight to Phoenix, and I did the license, and they did for me.
Well, so you think you have a license, but I
Yeah.
don't think,
Yeah, he did the license for me.
yeah.
Everything I hire, everybody, the guy do for me. I didn't do by myself.
So Joel, he's under the impression that he has a license,
Yeah.
but,
The city called to me, I said, I have a license. I still tell them I have a license.
Well,
which is why they continue to do that. I think there is a language barrier. And Brian, at one time, we had a business advocate, and I know we moved on from that, but this would be a good time to have somebody like that again in the future to help. So I think there's still some confusion on how the license works. And so,
Mr. Mayor,
yes,
if you feel like it, you may want to continue this for 2 weeks, and maybe some staff outreach could assist on some of the questions, if you feel so generous, I guess is the word.
does anyone else think that that could help?
Well, I think we could try that in the aspect to clear up the
Yeah,
possibility.
see what kind of license he thinks he has and how that happened. I mean, it's only a couple weeks, and,
Your Honor, he does not have a liquor license, and that's the problem.
Are you still selling liquor?
No, I have the temporary one right now.
Pardon me?
Temporary one?
Yeah,
What
I
is
have a
that?
temporary one. I have right now temporary one. They already give me.
Who gave it to
So-
you?
No, the Phoenix, I go to Phoenix, everything. I already have it.
so it almost
temp-
sounds like he's a victim here, and we need to get to the bottom of maybe the
Yeah, I have
PD
temporary
needs
one.
to investigate just what has happened there. So,
I do have a license right now.
That's right. Your Honor, what I'll do is I'll contact liquor. This is a liquor, state liquor commission license, and it's not a city liquor license.
Right.
So this is a state problem versus ours, that we just went on there to investigate the allegation that there was alcohol being served. But I will contact the agent. I've got his phone number. I'll contact him tomorrow morning
okay.
and tell him that what the confusion is, and maybe he can,
So I think under those circumstances, we might want to consider just giving it another couple weeks to see exactly what the situation is.
okay, I'll follow up with him and get back.
Okay,
And I just want to report that Alon has been working with and has engaged in this, and we will, a little time, we'll be able to do some of that. That is a function of Alon, is to try to help where we can to
okay.
help, so.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that'd be April 3rd. If you were going to continue for 2 weeks, it'd be the April 3rd.
And there's nothing scheduled with the state yet, so this
No.
doesn't even go to them yet.
You haven't
so-
taken action yet, so, and you're still within the 60 days, so.
It's
All right, so-
60 days from the day they accept the application.
Yeah.
So it'll be barely within the 60 days.
So the public hearing's still open. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this item?
No, you need to get up at the public hearing. Yep, absolutely.
And we would
I'm
need your
vertically
name and number.
challenged also. Hi, Angela Manweller. Just out of curiosity, if you have a liquor's license,
And
wouldn't they,
Your address also?
oh, 2075 North Delaware Drive,
Okay,
Apache Junction, Arizona, 85120. But don't they actually give you like a piece of paper and like a number, a liquor license number that you could check to see if he has that?
So we're going to find that out.
Yep.
Oh, okay. He could bring it in, maybe? With him? That would be a good idea, suggestion.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the discussion. Any more discussion here? I'll call for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we continue this item to the April 3rd meeting.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble,
I just going to say, I want to make sure that the staff keeps on this and make sure that there's no liquor sold in the next 2 weeks. I don't know how we're going to do that. And I want to make sure that the business owner or whatever status you have takes this as a very, very important issue, and that we are giving you a break on this thing, and that you do whatever you need to do to make compliance, and that, anyway, I'm going to vote yes.
thank you. Mayor Surtee?
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
5 in favor, motion passes, Your Honor.
Okay. Presentation, discussion, and possible approval of Resolution Number 18-06 for continuing participation in Arizona Metropolitan Trust Employee Benefits Program. Liz Riley?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Elizabeth Riley, the Human Resources Director for the City of Apache Junction. I'm here just to briefly give you a little background and let you know why we're coming in for a renewal for our membership with the Arizona Metropolitan Trust, which is the health insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, EAP, and I think that's about, teledoc services for the city employees that have insurance. We've been with the ASMET since fiscal year 12-13, I believe. And every 3 years, the city or the members are invited by the trust, which we were invited in February, to renew our membership, to continue our presence with the trust for another 3 years. So we've renewed it once, and this is the second time that we're coming before you. The trust started with 4 members. We now have 11. So we've grown from about 600 participants in the insurance program to close to 4,000. And we have seen benefit enhancements over the years. And I think if you talk to any employee, they'd tell you it was a great thing. So I'm hoping that you'll approve the renewal for membership. Any questions?
Any questions?
Okay, thank you.
So I'll call for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that resolution number 18-06, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the City of Apache Junction, Arizona, authorizing the renewal of the city's membership in the Arizona Metropolitan Trust be approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
yes.
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Presentation, discussion, and consideration of staff recommendation on the response of the city's notice inviting bid proposals. Dave Zellner?
Mayor and Council, Dave Zellner, Building and Safety Manager. We had put out an RFP with the goal of improving our plan review process, communication about inspections and stuff like that, information related to the building code. We also had a goal to implement an over-the-counter permit program. Right now, you have to leave things with us, usually a couple weeks. while we get it through the process. The responses we got really didn't seem to understand what we were requesting. They were extremely over what we thought we would be budgeting. And so at this time, we've just decided that's probably not the path that we want to take. So we still have the goals, and we'll figure out a different way to go about that. So we received two submittals. One was roughly about $250,000 for about 15 months of service. The other one would have run, it wasn't clear, but it would have probably been similar in dollar amounts. So I don't know if you have any questions regarding that.
And that those amounts were much higher than we expected or hoped for, so.
Right.
After I read this, were you actually looking for an independent contractor? Because as I read it, that's what I kept seeing, but I couldn't understand how one would relate to the other one. Because, and the dollar amount per hour would be, to my knowledge, light for anyone with that field of expertise. And especially being only for 20 hours a week versus 40, because then what are they going to do for another 20 hours?
Well, the way I wrote the actual requirements was actually less than what you would typically do. I wasn't looking for somebody that would replace my experience or knowledge and that kind of thing, but could supplement what we had at the inspector level and plan reviewer level. And so my background also includes third party as a plan reviewer and that kind of thing. And the hope was that a company might look to somebody that they wanted to train maybe, or to be a building official, that kind of thing, that had some of the base experience would want to come and have them work here. But yeah, any of these companies, the idea would be that the 20 hours they would have been able to do other money-making things. You know, they wouldn't be just hiring them for 20. Some companies may have sought to find somebody that was retired that would come to work for them for 20 hours that had the qualifications. That was a thought also. This would have fit better, not for the big companies like Safe Built, Shums Coda. It would have been a smaller firm, I think, that was looking to kind of, you know, maybe build up their practice. It would have worked well for them, I think. It would have given them a source of income, and then they would have been able to fill in with some other things. So, but yeah, I think part of the problem is the price for the hourly rates for these kind of services are highly influenced by California, and we're not there. So it was just difficult. They, I think, want to give you all the stuff that they do there and charge you the same amount, and we just don't have that capacity. So
do you want to do another RFP, or are you going to
I think we're going to entertain some other solutions. We may even talk to CAG maybe about something that they had made some suggestions, so that may be a solution. The other may be to do a contract employee just with the city for a short time. We still would like to kind of know where the state land and the timing for that's going to go before we bring on another staff person that we're committed to for, 5 or 10 years. So, the interim may be that we find the retired person and just directly contract. Part of the idea behind the RFP was tying into a little bit bigger resource, not as big as they wanted us to. So,
Any more discussion or questions?
So were the companies that supplied some information to us to do this, were they local? Or you mentioned California. Were they from California, or were they local?
Well, there are none of the specifically local companies applied. The two companies that applied have presence in the West. So Safe Built's Colorado-based company. They're kind of trying to get a presence here. Shums Coda is very active. So, but they're large regional providers of this service. So based on what I could tell from the procurement, there were some people that downloaded it, but we didn't receive any responses from Brown and Associates, some of the local companies we had hoped.
So in essence, what they're trying to do is put a presence, and then they're trying to find so that they can hire somebody full-time position, expecting full-time payment, and then also to cover all the, obviously, to cover all the benefits that go
Right.
along with it and everything, so.
Yeah, I mean, then there's, having been a part of those solutions, there's several ways to cut it, and I thought I had kind of created a potential solution that would work for both ways,
Yeah.
but I didn't seem to hit the right note.
And do you know of companies in the valley that could have,
I'm not tied in, because I've only been here 3 years, but there are a couple maybe we could reach back out to and stuff, but I think they were aware of the RFP and stuff, so I'm not sure. And part of the struggle is a lot of those companies are like everybody else, engineering firms and all that stuff are hurting for people and running at pretty much their full capacity. So it's difficult for everybody right now to kind of, in the construction industry, engineering, drafting, all that stuff is kind of maxed out. So that may have been the other factor.
Anything else? Then I'll call for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the two proposals received for DSD 2018-01, request for proposal for in-office residential and commercial plan review, be rejected for being unresponsive, and that staff may seek other options for this customer service improvement.
Second.
Roll call?
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble,
yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Council direction to staff on the Health and Human Services Commission process. Bryant.
Thank you, Your Honor. This item is an opportunity for us to receive direction from you on the process related to health and human services. 2 weeks ago, we had a very detailed and robust discussion about that. From a staff perspective, we look forward to hearing your direction tonight. If you have any questions, please let us know. The 3 items of review that we discussed were the timing of the contracts and the performance of the contractors that we have with them, and the ability to work with the contracts this time around, as well as coinciding the review with the city budget. We have those in at that time. I'm available if there's any questions on this.
Any questions?
I have a comment. I think this is a really good idea. We should have done this long ago.
Thank you.
I agree. I think it's a needed process adjustment for the city to do. I just want to make sure that if any contracts, my personal opinion, if any contracts are redone or added or changed or anything, that we don't lessen the compliance level that we are requiring of our agencies.
I'll call for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the following direction be given to staff regarding the Health and Human Services Commission funding process. That funding requests submitted to the Health and Human Services Commission be submitted to the City Council by May 31 of each fiscal year, allowing the Health and Human Services Commission to take into consideration 9 months of each funded agency's performance of their contracted obligations, that there be a legal review of the human services agreements to determine if changes are needed to strengthen verification of and compliance with contracted obligations, and that council consider and take action on human services funding requests to coincide with annual adoption of the final budget.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Council direction to staff on adopting the City of Apache Junction, that pesky vision and mission statement. Anna.
Good evening, Your Honorable Mayor and City Council members. Anna McCray, Assistant to the City Manager, here this evening as staff, eagerly awaiting your council direction to staff on the vision and mission statements. We discussed this last night, again, at the work session. We wordsmithed a little bit more to the vision and mission statements, and for the vision statement, we did remove the word distinct. So it reads, Apache Junction is a diverse community of beauty and heritage that will bring prosperity, compassion, and forward thinking to its residents, businesses, and visitors.
Yes.
Could we add the word natural before beauty? Would that be agreeable to the rest of the council? Natural beauty?
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
I do want to advise you that we did get an email from Councilmember Rizzi today. She does have concerns with the vision statement, which I can share with you if now is the appropriate time.
Yes.
She is okay with the mission statement, so we'll get to that next. But the vision statement, she did have concerns. She said she did not feel it's appropriate for a city, the term specifically bring forward thinking and prosperity. She's thinking more along the lines of a safe community and quality of life in place of those specific words.
So that's just to fill us, her thinking, she had said, in terms of how she views what the role of the city is. So that, she wanted us to make sure that we shared that with you, that it's just,
Repeat, I got
Repeat that,
the-
yeah, you could
Yeah, I got
So
the
specifically
quality of life.
Yeah, so she's specifically looking for something along the lines of referring to a safe community and quality of life versus the forward thinking and prosperity portions of the vision statement.
The prosperity thing kind of makes sense because it's not the city's job to make people prosperous.
See, I disagree with that, because everything we do, whether it's the zoning issues, whether we set up zoning issues, whether we allow people to do liquor licenses, whether we work with other communities, whether or not we put in sidewalks, we just spent, or we just appropriated almost $200,000 to put in sidewalks and streets and everything else, which goes towards providing people the opportunities to go out and make a living, improve the appreciation, or appreciate their property values. And what prosperity means is just the accumulation of goods and wealth, if you want to call it that. And so I do believe that every decision that we make as a city council really does lead to everything of that. We don't necessarily make people prosperous, but we give them the opportunities to make themselves prosperous. And it's also that we don't try to hinder them from being prosperous. That's my thinking on the word prosperous.
But sidewalks don't make people prosperous, and I hope they're not making a living off the sidewalk.
Well, no, sidewalks per se don't make people prosperous, but I live on a street right now that doesn't have sidewalks, it doesn't have curb and gutter, and we are in the process of doing that. We're down here in the neighborhood just south of, that's between 16th and the trail, and between, we are in the process of putting in curb and gutter and sidewalks and lighting and everything. And the reason that we do that is so that the people have a safer place to live.
So
But that also,
I think we're agreeing that, but
But
that's
that also
not,
goes
that's
into-
quality of life, though. It's
but it
not
also
really
goes
And
into the
safety.
appreciation of their property, which gives them more prosperity.
And council, if I may interject respectfully, the mission statement does mention the quality of life. If you will remember, the mission statement reads, "We will focus on and invest in quality of life and planned improvements for serving residents, businesses, and visitors."
Go back to the vision statement, Anna.
and I'll just add, over the time, you've talked about this several times, October and with the
Yeah,
yak and a
yes.
couple times. You've mentioned that philosophically, the idea of a vision statement was forward, where we're going, and then the mission cover that. I don't know, she's not here to kind of explain kind of what her thinking was on that being the vision. It would be interesting if she was here to know, like, in the mission statement, it covers what she was trying to cover, which are some of the things. But she was fine with the mission.
She indicated in her email that she was A-okay with the mission statement.
So rather than being repetitive with the quality of life in the vision statement, I like her idea of safety. And now that I look at this in big, big letters, bring is interesting. Bringing it? Oh, well.
This is a culmination of 5 months of your
Right,
effort.
right,
You
right, and
interacted
it's
through the
silly to
town
spend any
hall, the
more time on
community, the
it.
youth advisory council, and amongst yourselves over a series of meetings.
So are we making changes? We voting on this as it is?
The next step would be is I have a draft resolution that I'm prepared to bring back at the April 3rd council meeting after getting a direction to staff tonight. And that would be on the consent agenda if the language is agreeable and you're comfortable this evening.
I like the idea of adding natural beauty, or natural before
We
beauty.
can add natural in the
Robin, what would you say other than bring in, like enhance?
yeah, I was going through words in my head
Yeah.
trying to find the word that I wanted, and I couldn't. Kathy, do you have a word? You have a smile, so that means you found a word.
And you and I come from the same background.
Yes.
I would replace, just my suggestion, the words "will bring" with the word "offers."
Thank you. That helps.
Because will bring means,
Yeah.
for sure, I mean, you get the life, liberty, and the
Yeah, yeah.
pursuit of happiness. There's not guaranteed, you can just pursue it.
Yeah, and will bring is a definite. It
So am I hearing
offers.
correctly that you'd like me to replace the will bring with offer?
Yes, please.
So it will
Offers
read,
with an
Apache Junction is a diverse community of beauty and heritage that
Natural
offers,
beauty.
natural beauty, excuse me, and heritage that will offer.
That offers.
Offers, okay.
Okay.
You got a lot of sweat equity in this. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have
That's
a lot of
a-
buy-in. That's a good thing on some part.
Do it.
So the vision
we ready
statement will
to-
be adding the word natural and replacing the words will offer with offers. And I will make note of that and change that in the draft resolution for your consideration at the April 3rd meeting.
Yes, are we ready for a motion on that?
We do that one, or you do both of them?
We-
If you do them one at the same time.
You can do one at the same time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you're ready.
Are there any changes for the mission statement?
no? And I'll call for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes,
I move that the following direction be given to staff regarding adopting the City of Apache Junction vision and mission statements via a resolution at the April 3rd council meeting, that they are, as we have seen, with the addition of natural before beauty, and will bring will be stricken and replaced with offers.
Second?
roll call?
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion on the next meeting dates?
Your Honor?
Yes.
I move that an executive session at 6 PM and a work session at 7 PM be held on Monday, April 2nd, 2018, in the City Council Conference Room and City Council chambers respectively, and that an executive session at 6 PM be held on Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018, in the City Council Conference Room.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Struble,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Barker,
Yes.
Mayor Surtee,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
This would be the time for the call to the public, and I have one. Is this left over from before, or does someone want to speak again? Yes. So, all right, so call to the public, and you folks know the rules, so if you want.
Good evening again, Mayor, members of the council, staff, and members of the audience. I'd just like to add a couple of things to what we talked about. We were pretty thorough there. I'd like to thank the mayor for his contributions to our live auction. That's going to be pretty exciting. We have about 10 items for the live auction and a lot of items for the silent auction. We're going to split the live auctions in two parts so that you don't have to sit so long with the auctions. You'll have your choice. I'll give you another number to call and a website. Our chairman's number is 480-202-4470, and that's Connie's phone number. You can go on our website at www.yesteryearevent, all one word, planreview.com and kind of see what we're doing. We're going to be this year putting the items on this website so that you can see them ahead of time. So we think that's a good addition.
You need your name and address.
Oh, my name is Sandy Smith, and I'm 4415 South Primrose Drive in Gold Canyon.
Thank you.
Yes, but thank you very much.
Okay.
We appreciate all your help.
Anyone care to respond? Okay, if not, then I will adjourn the meeting.